Hi guys, Dan here. If you're a sports fan, you've probably heard about Kobe by now, especially given that this episode has taken a lot longer than I intended to get up. But it's been a rough week in the sports world. We'll have more to say about it in a future episode. Just be kind to each other, hug some people you love. That's really all I've got right now. For the time being, this is our Super Bowl preview episode. We, as always, do this really just to try to make people laugh. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it helps ease your mind a little bit. No intro music this time. I'm just going to toss it straight over to a slightly younger version of myself. And D, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world, we give you another ripping edition of the Dan vs. D Sports and Stuff podcast with the initials DVD, as in DVD player. I'm your player, D with two E's, and always beside me, whether to my left, to my right, and he's also headbanging to like my whole shtick here, is...
It's Dan with an A-N.
Dan the man he can. Yo, what's going on, buddy? It's been a while.
It has, you know. I like each episode to invent some new inaudible shtick that I do to try to mess with you during your intro.
Inaudibles, like, is that inaudible thing are you calling audible? While
I feel like inaudible audible is got to be like a weird hipstery rapper.
Man.
Like on SoundCloud.
Dude. Yo, you should have... Dude, do you have a SoundCloud page?
I do, yes.
Okay, you saw your music on it?
Like demos and stuff, but
okay.
I'll definitely distribute on it too.
Yeah, drop the album. Yeah, drop your album on
I'll
there.
become a SoundCloud rapper. No, actually,
you can make hip hop beats.
If you remember, SoundCloud was our hosting provider for the first year we did this show.
The first year, year one
before we switched over to Podbean. Shout out Podbean.
Shut up. Podbean.
Put some ads on my podcast and give me like 30 cents. So, you know, in the sports world, there are several different types of games where large muscle-bound men either throw a ball around or chase a ball around.
Or dive on it.
Sometimes they kick a ball. Sometimes they kind of gently kiss it into the air from their fingertips and it goes through a hoop. So, yeah, that's what's been going on in the sports world. No, what's been in the news lately that's caught your eye?
Well, actually... yesterday, like I was marking out so hard late last night because like Zion Williamson made his official NBA debut regular season.
Did you watch it?
I did. Like I watched a good chunk of it. They had him like playing about 10 minutes, like 13 minutes between the first three quarters, which was like but like in the fourth quarter. He like did something ridiculous. He scored like 17 points in like 3.5 minutes.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because he kept shooting 3-pointers from the top of the key and making them. He hit 4 threes in a row.
Oh my god!
And like they were like feed him in the post a little bit. He was showing his athleticism a little bit, getting layups and stuff. Like
wow,
yeah. And then like
that's incredible.
And then the coach took him out, like kept wanting to call timeouts or something, or like try to sub him out, but he couldn't because the action kept moving in, or he would get fouled and shoot free throws. And then eventually he took him out of the game, and when the game he got them back in the game, right? Like he actually had them like up 1. Then the coach took him out because they say there's no pitch counter restrictions, but come on. That they were playing as if they had some major trainer wheels, and they end up losing the game because like that just killed momentum.
Yeah, no, they definitely, I'm sure, had maybe not a hard number, but they were like, yeah, we don't want to push him too hard. And also, like, knowing his personality, you know, I'm sure they were like, yo, he's getting really, really into this. We probably need to pump the brakes on him a little bit.
So he finished the game with 22 points. It was the most points debut for a Pelicans rookie. So
yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
I
was in bed and I was like, yes, like Casey's beside me. I'm like, yes, like this is awesome, because I was waiting all night for something to happen, because I was like about like because things were going slow, and I'm like, yes, I was just straight up marking out for them. So
that's awesome, man.
What are you gonna say?
No, I think we're like we're good on the, like, is he going to be a star or not? He's a star. He's going to be a star.
I just can't wait to see what happens when they put him like on a full schedule.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they could freaking make the playoffs after the just god-awful start they had. So, like...
Because I think he played under 20 minutes yesterday.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously he's not going to do that in, like, all of his minutes. But, man, I mean, that's a team with some, like, legitimately good players on it.
Oh, yeah. They're really good. Dude, Brandon Ingram...
Right, Ingram has become like suddenly a great scorer too,
he was always a great scorer. He just had to get out of like L.A. and like the constant worry of like getting traded.
There's writers
by LeBron.
There's writers like Kevin O'Connor that are coming in with like the sort of hipstery take that he's actually better than Ben Simmons now.
Brandon Ingram?
Yeah,
I mean,
because they were drafted like within a couple picks of each other.
Well, he has a jump shot.
But, I mean, whatever.
He has a jump shot.
That's neither here nor there. And Ben Simmons has been awesome lately, so, like, whatever.
Didn't like, the coach want him to take, like, 1-3 a game, and then he still wouldn't do it?
He still won't do it,
yep. Can him and Embiid coexist? Because I remember me and my brother was talking, and he said, like, yeah, like, one of them has to go. Because, like, Ben Simmons, because they kind of come in conflict with each other. Because Ben just needs to have, like, the middle not plugged up so he can, like, do whatever he wants.
They both kind of want to operate in the same place. They both want to break down the defense in the same way. And the spacing stuff doesn't work as well when you only have, like, 3 guys on the outside and 2 dudes just kind of both clogging the paint at once. So
and plus, like, Embiid is still playing like he's kind of like a testament to like the old school in a way. He can shoot. He shoots more 3-pointers and makes more 3-pointers than Ben Simmons, which that ain't hard to do. But still, he takes a couple threes a game. I think, at least one.
Yeah,
and
but he's not
a back to the basket guy, and
right.
Like, that's not really what the league is.
Yeah, and Embiid is not, he can shoot threes, but he's not, Klay Thompson out there, so he's...
I'm not asking him to be that. Like, I want him just to be like, if you can if you take 3 threes in a game and you hit one of them, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. What I mean is, in terms of if the Sixers are going to say, okay, it's Ben Simmons' team, what essentially they need in Embiid's spot is they need a shooter. Not, to your point, not someone who's going to clog the paint. And I don't know. I mean, I almost think you, like, maybe do some experimenting with, like, massively staggering their minutes. But, yeah, I think it's like we keep twisting ourselves into a pretzel trying to, like, galaxy brain our way into figuring out how this will work. And I think the answer is the simplest one, that it's just probably not... I don't want to say not work, because they're a good team, but you get the sense that both of them are not quite, they're both hitting like 85-90% of their potential, and it's frustrating. It's funny how, like, literally even when the Sixers are good, there's still consternation because they're not better, like, and,
consternation.
And
that's a word.
To take it way the fuck back, that's what the fuck you take on when you decide to do something like the process. When you go to that level of blatantly losing on purpose for years and years and years and years to get all those draft picks, every single moment of the competitive window that results from that is going to be hyper-analyzed, over-analyzed. Everyone, anytime you lose, it's going to be like the sky is falling. Was the process worth it? They may go through all of this and not win a single championship.
They probably won't.
After all that, literally after asking their fan base to check out for like 5 years.
They had Jimmy Butler, and then that didn't work. And then, I like Tobias Harris. He's cool.
And not to beat this horse completely dead, but losing on purpose is the goddamn worst. And I want it out of sports forever. Please, for the love of God, as a fan, do whatever you have to do to the rules to make it so that teams don't lose on purpose, because it's terrible.
I can understand like 1 or 2 years to try and get a higher stock, but doing it for like a half decade or something, that's exhausting for like a fan base and for the players who are actually trying to, make a career and stuff. And you're just asking them, okay, well, you can play, but yeah, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be stuck in the mud while we just try to look for the future, which would be like 5 years from now. That's the problem I have with. I don't mind like a team like if they purposely stink for like a year or two. You know, like in football, I mean, you get the number 1 overall pick if you suck that bad, you know.
But you even see the result of that in football this year, where the Browns were not able to just immediately flip the gears and say, okay, we're a winning organization now.
Well, it's because it's the Browns. They always do that, though. Well, they always botch it, man.
My point is, when you're like a friggin' moribund, cellar-dwelling franchise and all of your employees are used to losing, you know, from the coaches to the, you know, guy that works in the friggin', you know, that answers the phones, you know, like, it's like it hangs in the air.
It's like a stench.
Yeah.
That cannot be gone away.
And I'm sure for any of you that have worked for a company that maybe has low morale, that's the effect it has on people.
Oh, no. Oh,
you know what I mean?
You don't want to be there. Why should I break my back or my neck for something that is not going to matter anyway?
And when you're getting into a minor car accident every week because that's your job, you might not want to stretch out for that extra yard. I mean, we're in like galaxy levels of hot takery here, but I genuinely think there is something to that. And I think, okay, here's the take. I think the analytics side of sports basically treats like people's brains and the sort of mental, physical, or the mental, emotional side of sports as non-existent. Because there's no way to quantify it. There's no way to develop an algorithm that's, you know, maybe says, you know, Brandon Marshall has BPD. How does that affect his performance? You don't know. There's literally no way to have a stat that measures that.
You don't know, but like the analytics looks at people as if they're like numbers on a page, or looking at it in the aspect of like if they're a robot, like a machine, statistics and stuff.
Right.
You don't take in consideration of like, hey, this person is playing terribly because like their mind isn't it because, you know, hey, there's something going on with their family or something like that.
Right.
You can't, you don't know what people are humans first, man. But a lot of times that human side just goes out the window. It's, hey, did they make the plays or did they not? And that's it.
And that's sort of my point about the Browns and just sort of my general antagonism towards tanking in general is that when you decide we're a losing organization, that mentality just hangs in the air and it's sort of all around. And it's not good for an organization to go through that.
And they fucked up OBJ, man.
Yeah.
They fucked him up.
And no, because look, I mean, he, you know,
OBJ was swagging out, and now look at him.
Right, and he's didn't play well on the field and had issues off the field, and you know, there's all kinds of it's just we're kind of going from topic to topic here, but
that's all good.
But I think that's a point worth making, and I am going to rage against this sort of like
the machine.
Yeah, I'm going to rage against the freaking machine. You know, this sort of hyper-optimized, you know, BS. And it's why I honestly, you know, I'm a Celtics fan, so, like, I enjoy rooting against Philadelphia. But I'm also rooting for Philadelphia to fail because I just enjoy the fact that all of that suffering was for freaking nothing.
I deep down want them to win something because of like as long time as that took for them doing all that losing, and plus like my dad's team was the 76ers, so
fair enough. Yeah.
That's why it was funny either way, seeing either them or the Raptors go what was that was that to the to go to the finals?
No, that was to go to the conference finals.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah,
Oh!
So that sets our Super Bowl matchup.
The Niners.
The Niners and the Chiefs.
Do you say Niners or 49ers?
I say the 49ers.
Okay, the 49ers.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, the Titans not being in the Super Bowl like aside, you know, if like I really wanted that for like my girlfriend, and plus it would have been nice to see the Titans be in there.
Tighten up,
Man.
tighten down.
Titanfall. As much as I love to hate the Chiefs because they're so damn good, you can like there's no argument here. The two best teams in the league are in the Super Bowl. No real flukes or anything like that. Like
I think there's a real argument that the Ravens should be here.
I still would have them losing to Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't think it was a big fluke with Tennessee. I think their youth kind of caught up to them. So, like, this whole
Lamar definitely kind of started to come unraveled a little bit in that game and made some pretty bad mistakes.
And Tennessee just was the better team.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't no... what was that dude's name? Wasn't Kyle Williams. It was like this one guy. Remember the guy that muffed that punt?
It was Kyle Williams. You're talking about San Francisco years ago? Yeah.
Yep.
That was Kyle
Williams. He didn't have fluky plays like that. Like, I think a lot of those plays, the teams that won in the playoffs, I guess with the exception of the Ravens, pretty much the team that was supposed to win won. Tennessee was a surprise, but when you look at the way they were built and the way they operate as a team, like, I don't make it out as this miracle season. I think they got hot at the right time, and they played in a way that I knew they could play back in the regular season. They were just inconsistent, but they just kind of pulled it together, but then ran to a wall of a team that was better. The two best teams are in the Super Bowl. That cannot be argued. Like, with exception, with the outlier of being the Ravens, but again.
Yeah.
But Chiefs... Number one team in the well, that's right. They weren't the number one seed, but
they were the 2 seed.
But in terms of
they accomplished that because of Brian Flores trolling the Patriots. So
true.
There you go.
So either way, though, with that offense and stuff, they're the best team in the AFC.
Yes, I agree.
And then with that defense, best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
So best defense, best offense. Last time that happened, wasn't that like? Didn't like the Raiders have like a high flying offense led by Rich Gannon, and then they got destroyed by Tampa?
It's true.
Didn't the Giants have like Kerry Collins that year, and they ran up against the Ravens, and they got stomped by their defense?
No, that wouldn't have been. Oh no,
that was 2000.
Yeah,
they had Kerry Collins.
Yep.
What do you think? Are you happy with the teams that are in there? Like, or do you wish the Ravens were there, or are these the teams? Are you satisfied with these teams in the Super Bowl?
I am. I as I said, I feel like people just a little bit kind of started to go to sleep on Patrick Mahomes, just a little bit.
I did.
It's cool to see him getting his props in the big game and getting all the media attention. I got a little tired of Ravens hype there towards the end, honestly, because it just got to be a little too. They're revolutionary. They've changed the game, and it's like.
And then Mahomes like, hold my beer.
It's like. I don't know that I go that far because I don't know what other franchise can replicate what they're doing.
Don't he look like a curly-haired Stephen Curry? Especially, he looks like a total dork when he has that curly hair. He put that AFC Championship hat on, and he's like holding got that dorky smile, and then hold that trophy.
No, the commercial that he's in with Polamalu where he has the little hand fan.
That is funny.
That's pretty funny.
I'm kind of a fan of him like that.
Super Bowl champ. Twice. Love it. Anyway, we have to have some cheesy ad to replace our long lost beloved Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, James Harden's face ad. Because I miss James Harden's face. I had a song that I featured in that episode, one of my songs, and when I re-recorded that song, I decided the official name of that song is James Harden's Face. And so, when I ultimately, I might at some point, do, a nice little compilation album of all the music that appears in this show. And when I do that song, you can pay, 99 cents for it on iTunes for a song called James Harden's Face.
You know what would be awesome? If you release that shit to iTunes, and then the James Harden is going through iTunes
Why is there a song about my
The
face?
hell? And he downloads it and he shares it and it goes viral. And then
man.
before you know, because if James Harden was to share something on social media that name drop him, think of like you will be swimming in some dough. Or like he'll like at least like maybe he'll give you like an all expense paid trip to go see a Rockets game or something.
Hell yeah.
Like Russell Westbrook quarter. Remember when he like airballed like a layup or something and then he like missed a dunk or he like airballed like on the other side like a 3-pointer. Like he played like one of the worst quarters he ever played and stuff like a couple weeks ago.
But James, frequent listener of the podcast, if you're listening, check out my song that I wrote about your face. I don't know. I'm excited for this game. Like it's been, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been a little bit since there's been a Super Bowl that I didn't like specifically have, Patriots rooting interest in.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about like getting my blood pressure up and watching the team. I get to see like friendly competition between two teams I'm not like, my livelihood is not invested in.
I have friends that are like fans of each team, so like
Zach, because he hails from San Francisco.
Yeah, former podcast guest Zach is a 49ers fan. As I think he talked about in that episode because he had a Joe Montana football somewhere. Yeah, no, it'll be an exciting game. I don't know that I have a lot of like schematic themes necessarily. I genuinely believe that it's basically a 1-2 toss-up between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan as to who's the best play caller in the NFL. So I do think that Shanahan and like Garoppolo, I think, has proven to be like a serviceable quarterback.
I don't think he will. If the game is being put in his hands, I don't think he can keep up.
If the game becomes a shootout, they won't win.
They're not going to win.
But I do believe that if the score is in the 20s, low 30s, that Shanahan can scheme Garoppolo into having some success against that Chiefs defense.
Because here's the thing.
Or, potentially with the run game, with that just Raheem Mostert going crazy.
And, I hate that for Tevin Coleman, though. He got carted off the field. Get well soon, buddy.
But that sort of famous Shanahan family zone blocking scheme that made like Ruben Drones a star for a year or two.
Ruben Drones. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Ruben Drones. Plus, he wants to wipe that nasty taste out of his mouth from like the whole botching of that Super Bowl against New England.
I will say, I mean, some of that does fall on Shanahan because of his sort of kind of weirdly still aggressive play calling towards the end of that game. But frankly, of all the principals involved in that game, he's the only one who since has been able to like wash the stink off because of his success with the 49ers.
I guess
we'll see what happens this time around. Maybe he'll be smart and not do that.
I mean, like the way I see it, it could go two ways. Like I see either the Chiefs will like do Chiefs things and like put 40 or 50 on these guys, or it's gonna go the way of what Seattle did to the Broncos. Remember when they had the historic season, and then like they went up against Seattle in the Legion of Boom, and they just destroyed them 40-8. I could see that happen, especially
and Richard Sherman.
They actually have a pass rush.
Yeah.
And like Nick Bosa, dude.
Yeah,
that guy's the truth.
Guy is,
and they got a good secondary.
Richard Sherman is back, and I think cementing a Hall of Fame resume with his play this year.
Plus, they have been playing really good, but I think this is when that Chiefs defense is going to hit a wall. I really do think that, because like who they like outside of like facing off against Derrick Henry, who they really face off against that can run the football like the Niners. And the only reason why Tennessee had to just abandon the run because their offense was their defense, like for the Chiefs. But
did the Chiefs play the Ravens this year?
I think they did. And I think they lost because they were held to like 24 points or something.
Because I mean, I think that's your comp.
They won.
That was one of the two games that they lost this year. But they did put up some points, so fair enough. yeah, we're not gonna go back and analyze a week 3 game, but
a lot of times if they've been held to like 24 points or less, a lot of times they lose those games. The only time they won really was like
New England.
Yeah, because we just did not have an offense.
And I mean, case in point, I think that proved that team can grind out games if they need to.
But they don't want to.
They'd prefer not to, but they can. So we'll see.
I would love to see Jimmy G get a ring, but like I'm less like thrilled because of like it's like John Lynch and them and stuff. Like, do they deserve rings or something, or are they like trash to you, or like are they undeserving of being in there, or because
How so?
I don't know. I'm still like salty about the whole like saga with Harbaugh.
Yeah,
the GM or the president's ego that
it was
just like
it was the president.
Yeah, his ego was just like kicked him out and stuff.
I forget the
and Harbaugh hasn't been the same since, man.
Yeah, and. Yeah, no, the funny thing is I made fun of their hiring of Lynch. I really did, because I was just like, why are they hiring this like dorky former player
and commentator?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the guy for like, I don't know. I just have memories of Matt Millen, so
But Lynch had nothing to do with the whole Harbaugh situation. So I give him credit, and they actually turned things around.
And nor does Kyle Shanahan for that matter. And more than any other NFL GM is, they're not the ones who decided Kaepernick isn't there,
Oh yeah, and all that too. That's what I'm feeling salty about that too. But
whatever.
But Lynch is good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I need to eat some crow over that, because they have turned this team around in a very short amount of time. Because it's also worth noting that like. So 2 years ago, remember when they traded for Jimmy G mid-season, and they were like 0-8 or had a really bad record, and then they won like 5 or 6 in a row with Jimmy G.
And then they then they got him paid, and then he tore his ACL the next year.
Well, those games were basically all shootouts. Their defense was horrendous that year. So like they turned that around in a hurry.
And you know what? What helps with that? Like a generational talent, a generational pass rusher, and Nick Bosa.
Yep, it's amazing how much that kind of ripples throughout your defense.
He's a rookie.
And he's that good already.
Who's better, Nick or Joey?
I think Nick had the better season this year.
Yeah, but keep in mind, rookie year, though, like Joey had a pretty good season. But Nick is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's too close to call just yet.
Yeah.
And also the poor Chargers. Anyway.
Poor Chargers. Did you hear, like, speaking of Chargers, you hear, like, the Buccaneers are possibly scouting Phillip Rivers.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Jameis Winston, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions does not instill confidence, man. But anyhow.
That's, along with Vinny Testaverde's 13 touchdown, 35 pick 1988 season, I think the Jameis Winston 30-30 is going to be one of those things that, like, 20 years from now, some kid like me is going to stumble across on Pro Football Reference and be like, what the hell? How did this guy start a whole season?
Is it going to be your son?
Who knows?
But it writes itself on us. We'll get back to the Super Bowl stuff preview, but like he can literally have a 30 for 30 written about him, about his 30 for 30. What if I told you that it was possible, like, that you could have, like, what if I told you that this show was about, like, this episode of 30 for 30 was about a 30 for 30?
Damn. But, one of my favorite memes about that was, because, in baseball, a 30-30 season means 30 home runs and 30 steals. So they put him on a graph with a bunch of baseball players who had 30-30 seasons this year, and we're like, yeah, man, look at all these players who had 30-30 seasons. And it was pretty funny. And they
someone did that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyways, yes. So it sounds to me from your analysis of that it seems like you're leaning 49ers. Am I premature in saying that?
Yes, in a way, yes, because I wish they could have won that Super Bowl when they were like that one pass away. Remember when the
game when the power went out?
Yeah, and then that ball was knocked away. One more pass defense, and that was the difference between them winning and losing.
The funny thing is, that
was the game that got Joe Flacco like overpaid and crippling the Ravens for a while.
Yeah, no, I was so salty about the AFC Championship game that year. I didn't watch the Super Bowl because I just hated Baltimore so much.
Oh yeah,
because that was the game where they knocked Stephen Ridley unconscious and stuff. Dude, that my Facebook memory about that came up the other day. Where I made a post.
No.
I made a post lambasting Baltimore for celebrating around a clearly unconscious player. But anyway, whatever. I was such a hot take machine in 2012.
And now you have a platform for those.
It's true.
But
I wish we could go back in time and podcast for some of the crazy things that have happened over the years.
Man, we could do a retro episode. We just go back to 2012.
When you sit and watch those 1991 week 8 episode of NFL Primetime, we'll just do an episode and pretend like it's 2006 and we're watching that weird playoff game where Chris Sims threw a touchdown pass to Edel Shepard that wasn't, and
Lito Shepard
and Sean Taylor spit in Michael Pittman's face.
Ooh,
I have these vivid memories of this just completely inconsequential playoff game from 14 years ago.
You know what I would time travel back in time to for us to do a podcast? 2004 with the brawl in the Palace.
Oh my god! Yeah. Agreed.
Ron Artest
and freaking co-signed. Oh my
Ron
god!
Artest. You could just see the guys. You just see the guy as he just sees this. Ron Artest is charging up the stands. You can see, oh shit! He's mouthing that. And then he gets the wrong guy. That wasn't the guy that threw the bottle. He was getting ready to punch him, and someone pulls him back. And then the guy that actually throws a sucker punch at him. And then I think another guy came in for the Pacers, comes in and just throws a haymaker on him. Anywho, oh my gosh,
I should go watch that video after this.
We will. But I want the Niners to win because Zach and plus them exercising demons that the last Super Bowl they were in. Plus for Kyle Shanahan to they finally get that that Super Bowl blunder off his back.
Get some respect.
But
put some respect on his name.
But as a thing about it, I really do want Andy Reid to get one.
Yeah.
They will be back next year and the next year and the next year. But
of these
Andy Reid I say the Niners window is less open than because of how stacked the NFC is.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the narrative will not leave him alone until he gets that chip.
Yeah.
He's come close, had heartbreaking seasons after heartbreaking season, and now this is his chance to finally win it.
It kind of reminds me of another guy that I always unapologetically came up for, Mike D'Antoni, who for years and years and years, he's never won a ring. None of his teams have ever won rings.
He hasn't even been to the finals.
Yep. And so, his system was very revolutionary for its 2006. He had the Suns, just trying to get as many high efficiency shots as possible and jacking threes all the time and all
Warriors.
that. Yeah. And
Sean dang, what's his name?
Sean Marion. Was on those teams. Yeah, his weird shooting motion. And don't forget Amare Stoudemire.
Before his knees exploded.
But the point is, for years, there was sort of that same reputation that, his system makes for great regular seasons and playoff collapses, which is just stupid, boring, lazy analysis and not true.
Oh, no.
And
they did have the 27 consecutive 3-point misses. He was under that helm.
But how many times are you going to bet on that happening? Seriously.
None.
like Rockets fans don't have any right to bitch about that because of that, because their team freaking missed 27 threes in a row. But like, I don't think that's an indictment of D'Antoni's system. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's an indictment of like, wow, they were tired clearly. And, maybe that was a result of D'Antoni shortening rotation in the playoffs, as he's notorious for doing. But, I don't know. I always think that's just kind of a silly narrative to pin on guys. And I think Andy Reid was the same way. His teams were known for being very pass happy in the Eagles years.
Being very good in the regular season, but like...
And there's that old, again, generally untrue sentiment that in order to win championships, you need to play good defense and run the ball. And, we've seen teams pass their way to championships since then, and we kind of know, okay, no, if you're transcendent enough, it doesn't matter.
But a well-timed defensive play can change the landscape of a game.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like Dante Hightower strip sack.
Oh, it's true. Mm-hmm. No, it's not to say the defense doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. That's sort of very old school. You have to have a feature running back and a road grading offensive line, and that's how you win, is by having him have 10, 20 carries for 105 yards in the playoffs. And it's like, no, you don't automatically win if you do that.
But what about 10 carries for 27 yards?
Well, that doesn't win playoff games either, as proven.
But yeah, like a good defensive running game. That was back in 2000.
Yeah, but yes, I would also like to see Andy Reid get his, and that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of cool with either outcome. I am. I don't know. I almost feel like what we've seen from the Chiefs' offense recently is just so unprecedented.
Can they be stopped?
I almost feel like I have to give the edge to them by default because of just I don't know how you stop that. I don't know, because what's happening is teams are pretty much doubling Hill on every play now, just about.
But then you can't double Kelsey, and then they got Hardman.
Or at least helping over the top on his side of the field on every play. And he's still getting loose sometimes. And on top of that, now you have, what are you doing? Are you having your nickel corner cover Kelsey, who's going to get bullied around? Or are you having a linebacker cover him, who's going to be outrun by him? It's the Gronk problem,
But, go ahead.
And... and on top of that, I mean, Mahomes is also mobile and is able to, he's certainly not a burner by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a huge part of his game is his ability to move and like Rodgers did in his prime, move around and create windows to throw the ball to. And his legs are fully healthy now, and so it's like he's like the Death Star. He's fully operational now.
He was playing like Madden, in the AFC Championship game, because he would have 8 to 10 seconds to throw the football when he would extend plays. Because I remember seeing one where he scrambled to he rolled out to the side and then to the sideline, and then he was pretty much taunting the defender hey, I'm coming up. And the guy is literally coming up. So it was kind of like Madden with the AI defense. You're scrambling and kind of drawing his attention just enough. And next thing you know, he throws to the guy that defender just literally left for a first down. So, I was like, you just literally played like Madden, just treating him like an AI defender. Yep. Okay. Oh, you coming to me? Boop.
Yep. And Russ does that a lot, too. That's a big part of his game. Russ.
Yeah.
But
Russ just plays backyard football.
Yeah. It's amazing how he's able to do that. But so I texted D during the Houston game when the Chiefs went on that run, and it was you just knew every time the Chiefs got the ball that they were going to score, because that's just how bad Houston's defense is.
I can't
hammer this home enough how bad freaking Houston's defense is. Anyway,
we want the ball. We're going to score, and they would do that.
And
it's like Larry Bird. I'm going to shoot from right here. I'm going to tell you I'm going to shoot from right here, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. That's pretty much what Mahomes did to them.
But I texted D and I just said, when it was the Utah Jazz in the playoffs, I think last year, the year before, when they literally were just we literally are so powerless to stop James Harden that we're going to have a defender basically stand behind him to stop his step back three and try to basically encourage him to drive to the basket because that's at least fewer points. Like, that is pretty much the point that Houston was at that point. That they probably should have just been in prevent on every play and said, you know what? If you have a 15-yard dump off to the running back every time, at least you're not scoring in 2 plays.
At
least it's taking time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would have been beneficial just for them, like, because like the Titans were kind of wanting a little more victory because that first touchdown, it took them like 5.5, 6 minutes for them to do it, but then eventually 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes,
and it's like you can't compete with that. In a weird way, you know, it almost went against them last year against the Patriots because New England kind of pulled out that Atlanta Super Bowl game plan where we're just going to run a crap ton of plays and tire your defense out to the point where you can't stop us. But they
also held them to like 7 points in the first half?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, the Chiefs almost did the same thing in that game. Remember, like they freaking like made that deficit disappear in a hurry.
Yeah,
and like, you know, the dude's gonna get his, but it's like at this point they're just scoring so much and so efficiently that I don't know how that's even remotely a viable strategy to just try to tire out their defense because you still have to score at some point. You have to keep up.
How do you feel? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How do you feel about Patrick Mahomes? Do you like him as a player? Do you like him as a person and stuff? Do you what's your take on the guy? Do you like him or you love to hate him or what?
Well, put it this way, when you sort of slice and dice him next to the other like great quarterbacks in the league, he's exactly what the NFL needs.
Yeah, because like think about it. We got Eli who just retired. Brady's on his way to retirement in a couple years. Breeze can't play it forever. Rivers
Ben's on his way out.
Rivers probably like in a couple, like he's probably got like maybe 2 more years left in him. I mean, there's going to be like Cam Newton probably not going to be the same. Who knows? So we pretty much got what Mahomes, Russ, and Lamar. Watson and Rodgers, and then Andrew Luck was retired. Yeah, so we don't.
I think Rodgers is much more in the first group too. He's much closer to the end of his career than he is the beginning of it. So
he's still got like another like 4 good years left in him.
Probably
4 to 5.
But who knows? You know, and so I don't know. I mean, I think every generation has its elite players come in, and I mean. He's good in the commercials, he seems like a super like cool, likable guy. Like, I mean, nothing gross has come out about him yet. So
actually, a little bit. Back in like 2012, 2013, about like he was like being supportive of the police during the whole Zimmerman stuff happened and stuff.
No.
Like, yeah, I mean, he's like talking about the support of the police and like, I guess like, I don't know, like he wasn't like, I don't think he was like ugly about it. He was just like, really pro police during the time when like, can we trust police or not?
Right. Sort of.
Like, so being support, but not, supporting anything that might view as controversial.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair, he's also biracial too. So make of that what you will. So yeah, I don't know.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't know how.
Like, Google that, but like it just came out like I think I saw it like last week or something. Yeah. Like came out like weird timing there. Like he's playing like the biggest game of his career.
But well, because everyone's going through your back Twitter feed and stuff, and
yeah.
But it's
kissing titties.
Okay. But I look at it like this, though. I don't know. I don't think that's anywhere near as bad as, say, well, first, like, being on Twitter.
Josh Allen?
Being on Twitter, going with the N-word, or saying other kinds of gross. I don't know that he's a Trump supporter, so, we can't we can't do that either. And he, as far as I know, has not like beaten or raped anyone. So
that's a good thing.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's sort of in the back of my mind as we're watching like Antonio Brown like melt the fuck down.
He's a snowman as a puddle now, dude.
Yeah,
and then like
that dude is
at this point he's like it's time for the sun. The sun is like evaporating him now.
I mean, one way or another, I don't know how he doesn't end up going to jail over this, and it's just, boy, that dude needs help.
Honestly, I think it's more punishment of him never getting back in the league because as you can tell, like the reality has set in. Like nobody wants him, and he desperately wants to play, but when you burn pretty much every bridge and
you have made yourself that radioactive that like no one in the NFL will touch you. Like that literally his Hall of Fame level of talent isn't enough to outweigh, everyone gets second chances in the NFL. Literally everyone.
Second, third, fourth.
And he is so freaking radioactive that he can't even get it. So
radioactive.
So
he could play for the XFL.
Yeah. So anyway, that's sort of my point.
The man.
I like Mahomes a lot.
Mahomes.
He has a weird voice.
You sound like Bert, man, from Sesame Street.
I can't even properly.
Won the game, and
I'll have to work on my Mahomes voice.
Casey says he looks like a Muppet. He did look like a Muppet when he had that hat on. With that curly hair and that goofy smile, like dorky smile. And he sounds like somebody from Sesame Street, man.
But you know what, dude? It's also significant because what did they say too? He's like one of the youngest quarterbacks ever to start a Super Bowl too. So like that's a big deal that he's doing this in his freaking third season
and not being carried by his defense. He is the team. Yeah. Like Russell Wilson did it, but he was carried by the Legion of Boom. He didn't really have to do much.
Well, Russ was no Trent Dilfer. Like he was still a good quarterback even back then, but he was not the like all world crazy,
Shoot, his defense spot him 20 points.
Crazy freaking point guard, that he is now.
Yeah. Like his defense especially spotted him like 28, including like Percy Harvin.
Yeah. But anyways, I think the league is in good hands with the, sort of young crop of stars that it has, and hopefully, they can build around them, and hopefully Deshaun Watson doesn't play his whole career on a bad team.
He can join New England.
Yeah. Man, don't even give me wet dream material.
Man.
I really wonder what Bill's going to do.
What if Brady just goes to not San Diego, but the LA Chargers, and we're in need of a quarterback, and then like Belichick's and like Belichick and McDaniels get together like, okay, we can get this guy like to replace him, and we can fix him because he's got an upside, and they hire Jameis Winston.
I'm be honest, man.
And we get a Roberto Aguayo as well, the kick field goals.
If we end up with either like Jameis or freaking Phillip Rivers, I feel like that's a last single person left at the bar type scenario where you're just kind of like, shit, I guess I'm going home with you.
Dang. Now Jameis, though, he got upside, but he's just a turnover machine, just like...
Yeah.
But anyway, I really like I don't know, 49ers for the upset and for Jimmy G to get a ring, but
actually, yeah, we didn't even look at who's favored. Hold on.
But Mahomes and Andy Reid getting that first ring.
So I can never remember what these fucking gambling numbers mean. The Chiefs are -1. Does that mean they're favored to win?
Yeah. But not by like a big margin.
Right. They're essentially saying it's a push.
Yeah.
Which seems about right. But Yeah, I'm excited though. I think it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be dope, man. Like
It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, I'm not like emotionally invested in these two teams, so that way I can go to like my mom's house, eat some chicken wings, and
Just hang out.
Yeah,
have fun.
And if I fall asleep during the Super Bowl, hey, I mean, which I don't normally do, but if I fall asleep during the Super Bowl, like, hey, I mean, my team's not playing, so hey,
I can't imagine that I will either.
it's gonna be like the first Super Bowl I watch in a while where I really don't care too much of who wins.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So
The last
I guess
one was the Niners and the Ravens, but in your case though, you hated the Ravens, and I wanted like Kaepernick to win too. So I actually was rooting for the Niners, but
yeah, no, and because we were both pulling for the Panthers and 15, and then
New England from like
14 was New England, and 13 was the Seahawks, and that was sort of
16
a
was
boring
New
game
England,
anyway.
and 17 was New England, and 18 was New England,
Yeah.
and 19
It's been a while since there's been like a non-stressful Super Bowl, so
or a non-Patriots Super Bowl.
I'm here for it.
Man,
Weirdly
it's
enough.
it's so weird not seeing. It's kind of relieving, but it's weird, but it's also kind of relieving that the New England's not in there. So that way, like, there's no Patriot fatigue. We kind of get a break from that.
Yeah, and we don't have just everyone. Because what's happened the last few years when they make the Super Bowl is everyone just spends the 2 weeks just complaining about the Patriots the whole time. And that just doesn't make for good television. It doesn't make for good analysis. It doesn't make for good comment sections. The whole thing sucks. It's fun for us, but it's not
like
really fun for anybody else.
Yeah, the NFC gets to play for second place.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, like, but it was, it's kind of funny though. Like, it might sound blasphemous, but it was kind of cool seeing like New England lose to like, the Eagles.
Hey, yeah, everybody had fun that night. Everybody got their sort of cathartic moment and the Brady strip sack and everything. So, hey, man, whatever.
But like, it's interesting of now, like, because I was talking to Casey, like, my favorite Super Bowl is like the first one. The second one, because like I felt like I was seen and treated like I was like a Russian spy, because I come in the next day in middle school wearing my jersey, and I look like I just like betrayed like my country because it was Panthers country. But that one, the second one, and the 28-3 one are like my favorite ones. The other ones are just kind of like especially last year's.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna be like last year's like Snorefest. This one.
No.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be hard hitting, and it's gonna be a lot of scoring this time.
I'll never forget 28-3, man. Although shout outs though to 2014. I don't know. I just like that was such a crazy night, and that was the Left Shark game and the halftime show. And just the absolute craziness at the end. I think but like a huge part of the like Patriots thing as it is like unknown, unheralded players from the bottom of the roster stepping up and making plays at inopportune moments. And, that guy turned out to be really good. And it's sad that his story with the team ended very poorly, but he made the play of his life and, was in tears afterwards. And I don't know, that genuinely moved me.
Does he make an impact if he doesn't break his wrist and he's able to play against the Chiefs last week? Maybe it doesn't change anything.
I don't.
But it's an extra corner.
Like peak Ty Law showing up and taking the field in some sort of temporal paradox would not have changed the outcome of that game.
Oh God.
I'm not convinced that
peak Revis?
I'm not convinced that like two peak Ty Laws and a peak Revis showing up suddenly would have changed the outcome of that game.
Of like Chiefs Titans.
Oh. I'll even give them a week to study the playbook.
Oh my!
I still and watch film. I still don't think they'd win that game.
What about the Legion of Boom though?
Maybe if the entire Legion of Boom showed up. This is such a bizarre hypothetical.
I mean, you saw what they did to like the receiving corps of the Broncos. They just beat them up at the line
receiving
of
corps.
Dang, they turn them into corpse.
I was gonna say, no.
Cannibal Corpse.
They started as a core and ended as a corpse.
But they do say corpse though, like I guess CORPS or something, like the corpse or something. I don't know.
That's pronounced core.
Oh,
We've actually had this discussion on the show before.
really? I don't remember that, but I just remember them jamming them up at the line of scrimmage.
Too. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what pretty much like. Can you imagine? Like, because Tyreek Hill, I think those guys can like take getting jammed at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he doesn't get jammed very much because he can just run past people.
Oh yeah. Plus, they have their own Travis Kelce. They got George Kittle.
It's true.
I like how George Kittle does a he does like a thing that's from AEW wrestling. It's like Cero Miedo or something. Like it was like Spanish for like no fear. Like it's like Cero Miedo or something. Look it up. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, Pentagon Junior, man. Pentagon Junior. Now that is a luchador name.
Wow.
Pentagon Junior. And he has like a skull mask with like some colored contacts. Oh, damn. Just getting choked up here. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
Dude.
Pentagon Junior.
No, I like that George Kittle looks exactly like Macaulay Culkin does now.
Dang.
So that's fun.
George Kittles and bits.
I like it. Yeah, George left. He wanted to find us some stuff to start a fire. He went to look for Kittling.
Dang.
Kintling. No, that doesn't work. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this week's detox.
Well, I don't really know what to say. I'm like Tony D.
I was gonna say, yeah, and Any Given Sunday. Let's just put that speech here and call it an episode. Just kidding.
Nah, I don't want to copyright infringe like the most epic, like, pregame sports speech ever in a movie.
I'll get sued by Al Pacino.
I still like Oliver gets sued by Oliver Stone. What comes to mind, especially what I've been going through stuff, like a lot of times we talk about these detoxes for, I guess, based off of our life and stuff. Thank you. He just turns the mic to me. And one thing that I guess I still struggle with, and we've talked about this stuff on the show before, and it's like your confidence and stuff, being confident in yourself. So like today's detox is just like your worth. Like seeing the worth in yourself, because if it was easy, everybody would like have like, and that's like putting like outliers of like, with like mental health and stuff like that. But generally speaking, if people like cheered for themselves or believed in themselves just as much as like they believe in their sports teams or other people, or if they did all that, if they were their biggest cheerleader for themselves, life would be a lot easier for a lot of people. And think about it. We are like, who's our worst critics? Ourselves.
Always.
Like it's just like we're hard on ourselves, and we think, oh man, I cannot do this. Like, oh, I'll never do this and that. Why bother and stuff like that. Like, and I face that, my job, like certain like standards haven't been able to meet yet. And I'm just like, oh man, well, dang, I never will get this. I'm just gonna get fired and stuff because I'm just not good enough. But the key word is me saying I'm not good enough, because I'm automatically defeating myself, because I'm setting the ceiling low for myself because I'm not having that confidence in myself. Instead of being like, okay, I'm not where I should be, but I'll get better. I'll get stronger. Instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. And I think a lot of people suffer from that, because when things aren't going right and stuff, we lack the ability to like pick ourselves up easily. Because you notice how easy it is, and Casey gets on to me a lot. I can give top-notch advice to other people, but then when it comes to me going through a similar thing, I can't take my own damn advice. Casey has to say like, well, remember what you told me this, or you told Dan or anybody this? It's like, maybe you should follow your own advice, love bug.
Your brain kind of twists you into a knot and makes you think, oh, well, this is totally different, and it's like, no, it really isn't.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's easy to tell that to somebody. It is easier to tell people what to do, or easier to give off advice and stuff, or to be somebody's strong cheerleader, be like, yo, you could do it, man, you could do it. But then when it comes to looking in the mirror, we're like, I can't do it. Like, I just got through telling this person they could do it, and then the same thing, like for me, I'm saying you can't do it, and it's just,
and you'd never say that to somebody else, right? It's entirely a weird thing that we like self-inflict.
Well, it's also
for some reason.
It's also too, like, if someone comes to you for advice, you're trying your damnedest to not give bad advice. Like, your goal is, you're like, I'm gonna totally give some bad advice, so the person like feels discouraged and like coming to me for anything ever again. It's just like that human nature. We want to help others, but it's just a very different ball game when it comes to helping ourselves. It's so much harder for us to help ourselves, and it gets into that confidence of, like, it becomes a confidence thing, like knowing your worth, like knowing that you are worth it. Because if you are able to be a cheerleader for yourself and be like, hey, I can do anything that I set my mind to, and hey, if things don't go right, hey, I'm still gonna be all right. And having that will, and then having that strong mindset to be like, okay, I'm gonna be okay, or hey, don't sell yourself short. And like, the slogan, keeping it simple, like, keep it simple, stupid. If we could like believe in our own selves, like we believe in everything, in anything else, like how we believe in our Patriots and all that when they came back from 28-3, like, can you imagine how much of a force each of us could be? If we had that drive, if we could cheer for our teams and show that utmost support for outside forces or people outside ourselves, imagine what we could accomplish by doing that with ourselves. And that's where I'm coming in. Believing in yourself, being confident, loving yourself, and like being like, hey, I'm worth this. And like, I'm not going to let things stop me. Like, yes, there's things that are going to like get us down. Like, I'm not saying for like not let anything get you down, because we're human. But remember that you are an awesome person, and that other people think you're awesome as well. Even on your worst days, you are still an awesome person. And that's where things need, and that's really important. When things aren't so awesome, remember that you're still awesome. Because
knowing, not losing the sight of what you're worth.
And when you have that confidence to go in and you believe in yourself, you are a force to be reckoned with. And it's just with like anything, like not just believing in yourself too, but like, with relationships and stuff, like, with like like, say, like, I mean, this is like, I guess, with a grain of salt, but and there's a lot of other factors to it. But you know how like a lot of people are in like, like abusive relationships or something, like the physical ones, like, of course, like that's really bad, and that has its effects. But like, what about the mental aspect?
Yeah,
that significant other says like, it's like, hey, you're nothing without me, and then you're around that long enough, and you start believing it, and then that you're looking at another person for your worth, while it should be the other way around. Like, hey, I am be in charge of my worth, and then having that confidence to strut along, because that, like, when you give like the power to somebody else like that can be very dangerous. And that's why having that confidence and having that worth, like that ultimate self-worth, is very important.
So I'm going to try to make this quick, just because my headache is not going away.
Okay. Shoot.
And this might sound sort of depressing at first, but I'm headed towards a point.
Dude, don't worry about being depressed, man.
Well, no, because I think it might sound at first like I'm contradicting your point, and I'm not.
Go for it. We could be like first taking debate.
No, this is actually me just being long-winded and agreeing with you.
Right.
I generally think, particularly among people our age and maybe younger, I don't know that many Gen Zer people.
Gen Zer.
But I feel like I see a just massive amount of fatalism, of a whole hell of a lot of like, yeah, the deck's stacked against me, so why bother? And everyone just wants to do nothing but dwell on that fact. Mm-hmm. And it's not a delusion. Like, I don't think we live in a terribly just world in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
One, that the universe is chaotic and random, and two, that, you know, again, this is not about politics or the economy or whatever, but just in general, you know, I don't think the society in which we live is like a terribly great place to live right now. But, so what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to just beat yourself into the ground by just repeating these things over and over again to yourself to the point where you just don't want to even try?
Don't you just give into the system at that point?
Right. and you know, especially, you know, honestly, when there's bad people in charge, they win when you give up. And again, I don't even necessarily mean that in a sort of like political sense, in the sense of just like they win when you like give up on like living your life.
Yeah.
You know, and you can absolutely like be aware of and acknowledge the just vast web of injustices that just like crisscross our lives at every turn. And believe me, it's almost impossible for me to ignore at times, and makes it almost impossible for me to be happy at times. Mm-hmm. You know, I also know what I'm worth.
Yeah.
To your point, and I believe that I deserve good things and that good things are possible for me, and I'm trying. And I mean, life isn't a meritocracy. Just because you try doesn't mean you'll succeed. You're not guaranteed success based on your effort.
But your chances are a lot higher when you don't give up.
But, right, if you just friggin' pass the ball every time it comes to you, you're never going to score. I mean, you know, for the umpteenth tired sports metaphor.
And sometimes you miss 27 straight threes.
And you know what? You know what all those guys friggin' picked up and came back the next year and tried again.
Yep.
You know, like,
sometimes
crazy shit happens and life, you know, takes a dump on you, but it doesn't mean you're worthless, and it doesn't mean that you deserve that. Mm-hmm. And I want people to try to put freaking effort into it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, live. Your life is now. Your life isn't later when you pay off your student loans or whatever. It's now. That's my thesis, is try.
You said something really critical to me. That you said, like, if this was like Pee-wee's Playhouse, you said like the secret word, let's live. Do you remember years ago I told you about what my late dad said to my mother? Live.
Yeah.
Because our time is finite. Like, we're all gonna die someday. Sorry to sound depressive, but it's the reality. So you only get a certain amount of time to be on this earth, and that's the time you have to maximize that the best you can. And that's enjoying like the big things and the little things, and even like the bad moments, using those as like fuel and like learning experiences to, like, you know, fund those good experiences. But like living, it's like just enjoying your time on earth, man.
Yeah.
And like that's what my father had done throughout his life, and he relayed that same message to my mom, and like she really like has taken that with stride, and, you know, she relayed that message to me years ago, and it just, like, yes, we all complain, and yes, I'm not saying like you can't do that stuff, but sometimes though, like as you said, trying to make be a better you for tomorrow, because like if you don't try, nothing really changes. Sorry for the low layoff because hey, we got lives and stuff, but we do this for the love of the game. It's great to be here. Like
I gutted through that shit tonight, man, because that's how much I enjoy doing this.
Yeah, thank you for listening to this podcast here, and like we just love whatever audience that can come and listen.
It's been a blast as always.
Yeah, whether it's 1, 2, 5, 700.
It's definitely 2.
One day we'll have 700 listeners. I would love that.
Yeah,
but in the
meantime, one of them will
be
James Harden.
Oh my. And Zion Williamson.
Hey,
but
he's all about this, the new age social media crap. So
but follow us on social media. What is it like? Still like DVZ Sports Show with 2 S's
on Twitter. That's our handle on Twitter. Our email address is dvdcastpod@gmail.com.
Word life.
I forget what our Instagram is. I think it's DVD Castpod, probably.
Follow us, guys, and we are on like Podbean. You can also catch us on iTunes. We link there, and
we're on Spotify.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite platform there. Spotify.
We've spotted several fives since we were uploaded there.
The Jackson 5.
We have been. I can't remember if I said this in the last episode, but we have been approved on the Google, whatever the hell that is, Google Play Podcast Network, whatever that is. So we're on pretty much all the big ones now.
Big ones.
Google and Spotify and all that crap. So yeah, find us. I don't know, wherever you're already finding us, I guess.
Yeah.
If you Google us, you don't get us on YouTube, unfortunately, but we are the second. We are the second result if you Google Dan versus D. So
on Player FM,
which is weird because that's a weird these are all aggregator sites that clearly are grabbing our stuff from iTunes or something.
Look, it says Patrick, my homies.
Yep.
iHeart.com.
Yep, we dish you a Merry Christmas. I want to say that our all-time plays don't count the old ones from SoundCloud. So
okay.
But yeah, we dish you. Has 11 downloads in the last 30 days. That's something. I forget how.
I think over half of that was because the title by itself.
I mean, here we go. Statistics. Yes, no, our downloads have gone down 81%. Still 24 in the last 30 days. Bad. We've been downloaded in Turkey.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. And the Philippines.
Oh my god. Turkey. With pillory mounds.
I'm surprised that we got through government censorship over there.
Oh man.
Most ever episodes we had downloaded in a month was December 2019. We had 58 downloads that month.
Wow.
That's a lot for us.
All right. We wish you guys good days ahead.
Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Eat lots of food and stuff.
Yeah, have some good food. Make a freaking pizza if you want.
And also, like earlier, you said, love yourself and remember your worth.
Yes.
What do you got to say, Dan?
I wish I could just hug you all, but I'm not gonna.
But someday he will.
Peace.
Good night, everybody.
I'm not gonna be here. Oh man, we didn't do an "I'm not gonna be here" joke this episode. Oh,
wait, well. How about now?
Well, I think vis-a-vis the Patriots playoff hopes, I think keep talking about next week, but
they ain't gonna
be here. Oh man, we love you, Magic. Never change.
Magic Johnson.